All right, welcome everyone. I am so excited to do a very special training called Speaking Alchemy. Now, you may be wondering why it's called Speaking Alchemy. For those of you not familiar with the term alchemy, alchemy is the process of turning lead into gold. At least that is the mythological process of transformation. What we're going to do is take whatever is your message, whatever it is that you want to present to people, whether it's in person or whether it's virtual. And what we're going to do is show you how to transform it into the best version that it can possibly be, okay? So to do that, we have to go through a very simple process that I call speaking alchemy. So this is my promise to you. Pareto's law is a mental model that says 80-20. Now, just out of curiosity, in the chat, has anyone heard of Pareto's law before? If you have, say yes. If you haven't, say no. And that'll help me give as much or as little background as I need to on the concept of Pareto, which is a fantastic mental model. So I have a couple of notes. Oh, I'm so excited to introduce Pareto's law to you, all right? If any of you have ever wanted to increase your productivity, become a better version of yourself, if you're finding yourself saying, okay, how do I find the most important things for me to do when I'm communicating to people to become the best version of myself? This is what the 80-20 rule is about, and this is what speaking alchemy and everything that you're going to learn here is all about. Speaking alchemy is about taking wherever you are in your journey as a communicator, as a public speaker, as a leader, and showing you what most people frankly just don't know or can't put words to, so you can replicate the process. So whether you're giving a virtual training like this, whether you're speaking on a stage, whether you're giving a business presentation, you'll be the most effective, most powerful, and command any room that you step into because of this alchemy process. Now, this alchemy process is based on Pareto's law. This is what Pareto's law says. It says that 80% of your results will come from 20% of your work, okay? So Pareto looked at a farm and noticed that there was a vineyard, and that vineyard, it would produce in an area of 20% of the vineyard. So if you look at, imagine a big square of grapes, 20% of those grapes, the physical area produced 80% of the grapes. What he realized is that that 80-20 principle actually applies to all areas of your life. For example, if you look at the activities that you do, I would argue that 20% of your day probably creates 80% of your productivity. 20% of the things that you do. So when you think of it like this, think about when you sit down to work on a project. How long does it take you to start, to get ready? You might jump on social media, you might look at some TikTok videos, you might read some articles about COVID-19, then you jump back into the actual work that you're doing. If you actually looked at 2 hours of your time, a lot of people will realize that it was really about 20% of that total time that was technically productive. And the other 80% was either getting ready or you being distracted or you thinking, but there's 20% of what you do that creates 80% of your results. So for example, just look at if you have a job and you work with people, you'll probably notice that when people work, they're not fully 100% productive 100% of the time. They're not at their shift working 100% of the time at like an insanely efficient robot, right? No one's doing that. What you'll find is that when most people work, they do about that 20%, it gets about 80% of their results. So what's cool about Pareto's law, or the 80-20 rule, is if you can start isolating what is the 20%, what is that small amount that produces this large amount of results for me? And if you can isolate those and focus your attention on that 20%, you'll start being wildly more productive. But here's where math gets really fascinating, okay? You take that 20% that creates 80% of that result and you get down to it, what you'll find is that 4% of your work will create 64% of your results. So again, if you look at the 80-20, 20% of my work creates 80% of my results. If I look at just that 20% and then I 80-20 that 20%, that gets me down to 4 to 64%. Now, if you do the 80-20 rule to that chunk, that 4%, what you'll actually find is that 1% of the work that you do typically creates over half of the results that you get. So here's what that means to you. What we're gonna go over today is that 1%. What we're gonna go over today is if you focus on these 3 simple concepts and ideas, we're gonna go over the Starbucks strategy, we're gonna go over the elevator technique, and we're gonna go over the learning loop. If you can conceptually master these 3 simple ideas, you are going to be wildly more effective than almost every other person who presents. And listen, I've been speaking for 14 years. I've spoken to over 1,000 different schools, businesses. I've spoken at colleges, high schools, inner city, rural. I've spoken at corporations, billion-dollar organizations. I've helped fundraise millions of dollars through speaking engagements. I've trained speakers. There is a lot that I've learned over the last 14 years, and I'm distilling it down for you in this really, really easy to understand way. However, for us to do that, I have to acknowledge a few things. Right now, there is a large percentage of you who, now that you've realized your video is turned off, you have changed your attention to, I'm gonna listen to the webinar, I'm not gonna watch it, right? There's some of you right now that I bet you're at your phone right now going, beep, 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 beep. Oh, I'm just gonna listen because my ears are amazing. Some of you are folding laundry right now. Any of you folding laundry? If you in the chat folding laundry, say you caught me, I was folding laundry and not watching the video. You have to understand this is the medium of Zoom, of webinar. You can think, oh, I'm just gonna listen and then catch what I need to catch while I fold laundry, while I wash dishes, while I do something like that. I will tell you that if you do that, you're gonna miss a lot. So I encourage you, though you naturally may find a instinct to want to just listen to this instead of be engaged. If you really want to get the most out of your time, I encourage you to be locked in with us. It's going to be on you whether you do that or not, but I promise you the individuals that choose for this very small amount of time we have together to stay locked in, you're going to get an incredible amount from it, okay? So with that being said, if you are with me in the chat, say, let's go, and we're gonna jump into what we need to learn, and I'll know that you're actually paying attention and still with me. And thank you, Charmaine. I appreciate you acknowledging my picture. So let's get some let's goes. All right, very cool. Yes, I turned off everyone's video, but you still gotta watch it. Okay, I see my let's goes. I appreciate y'all. Let's jump into the Starbucks strategy. So, okay, I see the let's goes coming in. Hollers. Y'all give me hype. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. All right. Hey, just out of curiosity, can you see just the image or do you see my chat box in the middle? If you see just the image and the words, put image and words. If you see like a floating chat box, let me know if you can see a floating chat because I don't want you to see that. Only you see the image and words. Okay, so you don't see a floating white chat box, right? I'm still making sure I understand the technology aspect perfectly. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I want to make sure that the recording, okay, yeah, you can move your chat box. Perfect. I just want to make sure it's not in the way. All right, perfect. Thank you. Let's go. Now, here is what most people do not do when they're doing a virtual presentation or when they're doing a live presentation that causes them to fail, okay? I want you to imagine 6 months from now, you gave a presentation today, okay? And in 6 months from now, you walk into a Starbucks coffee shop and you see 2 people having coffee. And what you realize is that those 2 people attended the event that you spoke at, okay? They're your coworkers who were in that big meeting where you had to do a big presentation. They were people who attended your webinar and you recognize their faces and they're sitting and having coffee. And again, let's assume one day soon we can all go back to Starbucks together and have cups of coffee, okay? But let's imagine you walk into that Starbucks 6 months from the day that you gave your presentation and you see these 2 people having a conversation and they're actually talking about your presentation, okay? and they're talking to each other and they go, you know what? You remember that time Maritza did that presentation? They go, yeah, I remember. Yeah, Maritza Martinez. Yeah, I remember that presentation she did. Man, that was so cool. You know what I took away the most from it? I know it was 6 months ago, but the one thing that I remembered most was, and then she said something to her friend, okay? You want to be clear, what is it that I would want them to say 6 months from now after the presentation? This is crucial. Because what the Starbucks strategy tells you is that what most people do is they put a presentation together and they go, well, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about that. And then they put it together and it fills 1 hour of time. And then they go, well, I hope someone got something from that. Well, typically, if you just smash things together, ultimately what people remember is nothing. I mean, think of it like this, and let me ask you, I want you all to think about a presentation that you attended 3 months ago, 2 months ago, maybe even a month ago, right? I want you to try to visually remember where were you, well, maybe not a month ago, it kind of got wild a month ago, but let's go 3 months ago or 6 months ago. Okay, I want you all to remember it. Okay. Yes, so everyone who can see the 2 people and the word Starbucks strategy, that's all that we should see. Perfect. So thank you guys for chatting in. But I want you to think about this. 3 months ago, you were at a presentation, okay? Can you remember what the person talked about in that presentation? Now, odds are you either A, can remember you were at a presentation, but you can't remember anything that the person said. Or you can remember maybe 1, maybe 2 things that they said. Now, just out of curiosity, in the chat, let me know if I'm correct. If you can think about a presentation you attended 2 months ago, 1 month ago, you might, you remember how you feel. Oh, I remember I was engaged. I remember I was motivated. You can remember the feeling. The feeling's really big. But if you think about the content, what's the one thing that they shared? I would argue that either A, you don't remember anything specific that they said, or B, there's 1, maybe 2 things that stand top of mind to you. If that's true, in the chat, write true. If you're like, dude, you're totally wrong, I remember every single point that they made, you can say false, okay? But I would argue that most people, I'm seeing a bunch of trues coming in, we typically will remember either nothing or 1 thing. This is why this idea is so powerful, okay? So I got some totally trues. Thank you, Kenya, right? So this is what this means to you. If you know 6 months from now, your audience is at best going to remember 1 thing, or at worst remember nothing, your presentation needs to be built around 1 simple concept. That's it. The best presentations, the most memorable presentations, are actually only built around 1 singular idea, and then other things are brought in to help support that 1 singular idea. Now, the magic comes from you being able to decide what's that 1 thing that I want them to say. So this is how you apply it with the Starbucks strategy. What the Starbucks strategy says is, if you, the speaker, walked into a Starbucks and saw 2 people who attended your presentation from 6 months ago having a conversation, what would you want them to say about your presentation that would make you feel, oh, that's exactly what I wanted them to get. This is the most, oh my gosh, they remembered this 1 thing. And that was the most important thing they could possibly remember. That now becomes your 1 thing. And if you create your presentation around 1 idea, now you can start building everything to get there. For example, if I said Martin Luther King Jr., what speech stands out to you the most? If I say Martin Luther King Jr., in the chat, let me know what speech stands out to you most. Yes, Mustafa. I have a dream. That's right. The I have a dream speech is by far, like, as society goes, probably one of the most impactful, most powerful presentations. And it was a very simplistic, single focused concept. It was he has a dream that basically people will be judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. And then he built his whole presentation around hitting that one concept, right? From every possible angle. That is what makes a powerful presentation. If anyone can remember, there was it's Charmaine, it's called a repetitive refrain, when people repeat. But what he was doing was taking I have a dream and then repeating it over and over and over again. I have a dream. Da, 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 da. I have a dream. So that the concept was this dream life that we could all live in, right? That's powerful. If you remember, another very powerful old speech from our country is JFK's speech saying we're going to put a man on the moon. If you haven't seen that speech, it's old school, but I encourage you to watch it because it was a very singular concept. The whole thing was we're going to drive innovation, and the way we drive innovation is putting a man on the moon. It was singular in its concepts. Now, I want you to think for a moment. Think about the most inspiring presentation that you've ever heard, or a presentation that's impacted you, that stayed with you. I would argue that that presentation had one central concept, that everything in that presentation moved you toward getting. Now, most people will never see this, and I want you to start looking for it. The next time you're hearing a presentation and you feel lost, or you feel glazed over, or you feel like, oh my God, I don't know what he's talking about, let me check my phone. How is COVID-19 handling itself right now? I would argue that that speaker is going all over the place. They're talking about motivation, and they're talking about health, and they're talking about family, and they're talking about this. And all of those things are individually important, but when you smash them all together, it doesn't make sense. It's kind of like, have you guys ever heard of Five Guys, the restaurant? I don't know if it's popular down there in New York City. In the chat, write yes or no if you've ever heard of Five Guys. Okay, so one person's heard of Five Guys. Okay. In the chat, write have you heard of Chipotle? Okay, so we've heard of Five Guys. Have we heard of Chipotle? Okay. Five Guys and Chipotle, they do like one or two things really well. Five Guys does burgers and fries. That's pretty much it. Chipotle does burritos and bowls, which a burrito is literally just, a bowl is just a burrito without a wrapping, right? Like it's literally, they do two, like have you been to Chipotle? They almost never change their menu. Like they're like, hey guys, we got queso now. And it's like, you always had queso, you're just advertising it now. Not impressive, right? But they do Chipotle really well. Chipotle does burritos really, really well. They do this one thing. So if you're like, I want fast, healthy food, you go to Chipotle. If you want a really good burger and fries, you probably go to Five Guys because they do one thing really, really well. Now, if you want a cheap fast burger, you might go to McDonald's or Burger King, right? But if you want a really good tasting one fast, you probably go to Five Guys, right? If you go to Subway, Subway does one thing really well. They do sandwiches. They've tried to do like pizza and wings and a bunch of other things, but you don't go to Subway. No one's ever been like, you know what I really want right now? I want a pizza from Subway. I got this hankering in my tummy for a pizza from Subway. You've never said that in your life, ever. Do they sell pizza? They used to. I don't know if they still do. But you've never said, I dream of a Subway pizza. It's just not a thing that you do because that's not what they do well. So if you actually start observing the best brands, the things that create memorable feelings, experiences, emotions, they get one concept. And then what they do is they bring everything around that one concept. So what you want to do, and I can't stress this enough, if you do just this, I'm going to give you some more that's going to support this. But if you do just this and say, okay, if someone were to leave my presentation and 6 months from now, I walked into a Starbucks and heard them talking about my presentation, If they said this one thing, what would I want them to say to make me feel like I absolutely achieved the goal I wanted to achieve? What would be the most important thing I could share with them? When you can say what that is, now you can build your presentation on why this idea is important, why someone wouldn't believe this idea. What are examples of why this idea is true? How do I tell stories about why this is true? How do I give analogies on why this is true? How come most people won't do it and why you should do it? That literally becomes your whole presentation. Now, there's a fear that people have. They say, but well, that's too simple. My audience is very sophisticated. No, let me see. They're not. It's not that, no, you got dumb audiences. No, I'm not saying they're not sophisticated. What I'm saying is that people are craving simplicity because we live in a world of complexity. We live in an incredibly complex world. The simplicity of getting a singular idea that can be most important to me right now, I can do something with that. If you feed me, people go, oh, it's a buffet. Oh, I'm not Subway, I'm a buffet. Have you ever been to a good buffet in your life? You haven't. Don't lie to me. This is what y'all do. I know how buffet lines go. You go to a buffet and you go, oh my gosh, look at all this food. The salmon is disgusting. It's slimy, right? Everything is super deep fried. And you go, no, really, it tastes good. No, they just deep fried everything. You could deep fry a shard of glass and it'll taste delicious. Deep frying makes everything delicious, but it doesn't actually taste good, right? The ice cream tastes synthetic. The desserts are disgusting, but you paid your $14.95, so you're going to enjoy yourself. That's what you do. Don't lie to me. You ain't never been to a good buffet in your life, okay? Ever. Hibachi is totally different than buffet. Hibachi is fantastic, okay? But a buffet is not. I've been on cruise ships, and they're like, we have all this food, and it's presented beautifully, but then when you eat it, you're like, it's not really that good, but I got to enjoy myself, so I'm going to convince myself that it's good. Cheesecake tastes like somebody farted on it. It's just disgusting, okay? I'm just being honest. You've never had a good buffet. So if you say, oh, my presentation is a buffet, then ultimately you're giving the same quality experience as if somebody was eating in a buffet, okay? And it's not going to be high quality. It doesn't exist, okay? I haven't been to it. But it ain't no $14.95 buffet. If it's a dope buffet, it's probably like $79.95, and you ain't going to that buffet because you'll be like, I ain't spending $79.95 on no buffet. Unless somebody takes you out for Valentine's Day, sans coronavirus, then you say yes, baby. You say yes, okay? All right, let's keep it moving. So I want you to remember, you cannot take an audience somewhere if you don't know where you're going. This is the quintessential concept of the Starbucks strategy. If you don't know, like what most people do is they say, oh, I have to give a presentation. And they start saying, well, I'll talk about this, I'll talk about that. But at the end of it, when I talk to most people and they say, and I coach a lot of speakers and I have a program that helps speakers become better presenters and better professionals. And I cannot tell you, every time someone says, Arel, help me with my presentation. And I ask them the question, 6 months from now, you walk into a Starbucks, right? 2 people are having a conversation. What's the one thing you want them to say about your presentation? 90% of people will be like, I never thought of that. Like, I don't know. What would I want? Well, I'd want them to say they had fun. Okay, that's what they experienced, but what did they learn? Well, I want them to say I was a good speaker. Okay, that's their opinion of you, but what did they learn? Then when you drill it down, people go, well, I'd want them to know that confidence matters, right? I'm going to take what Serge said in the chat here. I want them to know, okay, great. If your one idea is that confidence matters, then you build your entire presentation around confidence matters. You're not talking about anything else. You're not trying to do anything else. Confidence matters, right? So if you don't know where you're going, you can't take your audience there. So what I want you to imagine is how a GPS works, okay? So you're trying to figure out what is the Starbucks strategy? What is that one idea? It's like a GPS. So how does a GPS work? It's very simple. You put in your starting point, here's where I am. You put in your destination, here's where I want to go. You hit start, And then the GPS goes, here are the 12 steps you take to go from here to there, okay? This is how you create the content of your presentation. So, Serge, I'm gonna take what you said, so you didn't know I was calling you out, but I'm gonna use yours. You said confidence matters. So let's say that you are tasked with speaking to a group of incoming students to the Hostos Leadership Academy, okay? These are students who are not yet engaged and involved. And Jason says, Serge, you have incredible confidence, and I want our next generation of leaders to have the same kind of confidence as you. I need you to do a presentation for them. And you go, Jason, I got you, man. You could go to DR, all right? You can go hang out. You know how Jason do? He be going to DR and taking pictures of himself by the ocean, and he don't let nobody else come with him. It's just him. And he don't even say nothing. You ever see those videos of Jason? He don't say nothing. He just be panning. Yo, I'm in DR with the beautiful water. And at the end, he goes like this. And then closes it. Come on, I know y'all seen those videos. If you connected with Jason, you know he be going into the like beautiful waters of DR, but he don't bring nobody with him. He just enjoying it by himself. He was like, I hang out with y'all all year. Messing with y'all when I'm in DR. Jason, I only say this because I love you, man. I only say this because I love you. But we all seen the videos, man. All right. I always be jealous. I be like, yo, Jason, how many times you gonna be in DR? He's like, I ain't saying nothing. Okay, I'm done. So, I swear I'm a professional. I swear I'm professional. Okay, here we go. So this is your starting point. This is your ending point. So you go, here's where I am. Here's where I want to be. Jason says, Serge, I need you to do this thing on confidence. So he goes, okay, what's the starting point? Okay, they're incoming. What do they know? What do they don't know? I need to get them to this place where they're saying to themselves, confidence matters. So this is the starting point. Confidence matters. They're coming in. What do I need to say to them so that they start understanding why to let go of negative self-talk, how negative self-talk limits your confidence, why people around you and how they treat you and how they see you does affect your confidence, and why being around people in the Hostos Leadership Academy is so important, why you will get down on yourself. Like we all get down on ourselves. Why do we get down on ourselves, and what can we do when we're down on ourselves so that we can get to a point where we put this focus on confidence, and then showing how confidence will then open up so many different opportunities. But you might be saying to yourself, but Arel, that sounds good in theory. How do I figure out what to say? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Because there is something called the curse of knowledge that is going to mess you up. O-M jizzle, okay? This is the reason why most presenters suck. Because they go, okay, I got my starting point. I'm speaking to these incoming Hostos leadership potential students. I know where I want to take them. I want to show them that confidence matters. Then you're trying to figure out how you get them there. Before I show you, and I will show you exactly how to get them to that point, you're dealing with an issue that's called the curse of knowledge, okay? Now, I am going to play a little game with you, okay? I'm going to play a little game. I need a volunteer, so someone in the chat who's willing to volunteer, just say me, and I'm going to need you to turn your video and your audio on for the volunteer to work. So if you're willing to volunteer to turn your video and your audio on, just say me, okay? We got Maritza. Okay, wonderful. All right. Is this Maritza? Who is this? Okay, Maritza, turn your, ooh. Okay, I don't want y'all to see all that. I gotta get Maritza. Maritza, unmute your thing there. And if you can't, I'll do it for you. Unmute. All right, Maritza, can you hear me? Oh, you went in and went out. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you start your video?
Oh, hold on. Let me see.
What's up, Maritza?
Can you see me?
I can see you and I can hear you just fine. Can everyone see? If you can see and hear Maritza, just say yes. All right. All right, Maritza, I am going to message you something on the low, okay? You ready? I'm going to send it to you on chat. Okay. It is going to be the name of a song. Okay. Don't say the name of the song, okay? Don't say the name of the song. Do you know this song?
Okay, hold on.
All right, so I just chatted it to you as a private message, so no one can see it except you. Marita, do you know the name of this song? I mean, do you know this song? Not the name of it, but the actual song.
I think I do.
Okay, if could you sing it if I asked you to or no?
Isn't it?
Don't do it. Don't do it. If not, I'll choose a different song. All right, I'll do a different song.
Oh, hold on.
I'll do an easy one.
Wait, hold on. Let me message you.
Hold on.
I think I know what it is, but I don't want to say it, so I'm gonna message you.
Okay. Marita, can you do this one? Yes, that is the song. Yeah, that's the song. Do you know the tune in your head, or do you prefer the one I just said?
I'll stick with the one you sent me first.
The one you said. Okay, here's what I want you to do, Marita. Don't sing the song. I want you to clap it. Now, everyone, these are your instructions. Maritza is about to clap you a song. All you have to do is in the chat is tell me what the song is. You're up, Maritza.
Clap the song, right?
Clap it. Don't hum it. Don't sing it. Don't none of that. Just clap it, okay? Perfect. It's not happy birthday. It's not happy birthday. Shout out to your cat in the background, though. They was adding some harmony, and I appreciate you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he's all over the place.
That's all good. It is not happy birthday. It's not happy birthday. So everyone say happy birthday. It's not happy birthday. Marita, do it. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. It is not twinkle, twinkle, little star. Do it again, Marita.
Okay. All right. Oh, hold on. Wait. Okay.
It is not ABCs. It is not I'm in love with the Coco, Charmaine. Yes, Sabby got it. Sabby got it. Star Spangled Banner. I think that's what I'm trying to say, Sabby. You spelled it in a way that is, you may know a different song than me. That could be a reggaeton song, Sabby. I'm not sure. Okay. Sabrina. Okay.
Yes, that's the one. Savvy. Yes, Savvy. You got it. Yeah.
Came out the reggaeton version of it. Okay. So now, this is my question to you. Marita, to you, when you were clapping it, clear as day, you could hear the song in your head, right?
I was like humming in my head and making the clap to it so to see if you understand it.
So you knew exactly what the song was and you could hear it. And I'm sure there was a part of you, and tell me, and don't agree with me just as I'm saying it, tell me if I'm wrong. There's probably a part of you that goes, that's ridiculous. How come people can't catch this? It's a very easy song, right? Like, you should do it. So you're sitting here going, how come they're not getting it? And everyone's over here going, twinkle, twinkle, little star, happy birthday. I'm in love with the Coco.
No, because I was trying to make it like so they could understand it. That's why I was like, oh, hopefully I'm doing this so they can understand it better.
Exactly. So what happens is, okay, cool. So that was perfect, Maurice. This was perfect. So thank you, everyone. Give us if you can clap, give me an emoticon clap for Marita. Thank you, Marita. I'm gonna mute you again, okay?
Okay,
thank you for volunteering. So this is the point of it, okay? This is the point. Thank you for the little emojis here, okay? This is the point of it. This is what's called the curse of knowledge, okay? So the curse of knowledge is, I knew the song, Marita knew the song, okay? She's humming it in her head, going, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? I don't have auto-tune. You got to bear with my singing voice, right? You're welcome, Marita, right? So what happens is, she goes, well, it's clear as day in my head what the song is because I know what the song is. But to the outside listener, they're going, is it Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? Is it Happy Birthday? Is it I'm in Love with the Coco? Right? That would have been hilarious if I actually chose that song. next time I do this exercise, I'm in love with the cocoa, and I'm gonna see how this goes down, okay? And then people say, Arel, how could you talk about cocoa? I'm gonna be like, I'm talking about Cocoa Puffs, baby. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Okay. Oh, Sabrina used to play drums. That's how she figured it out. Okay, but this is the key here. This is what the curse of knowledge is. This is why it's so important that we talk about this concept. When you know something, it almost becomes obvious to you that other people should know it as well. Okay? It's obvious that other people should know it, but in reality, it's not obvious. Because at some point, you didn't know what it was. Just like Jason doesn't know what cocoa is. And ain't nobody about to tell you what it is, Jason. Because that's an uncomfortable conversation to have with someone we respect as highly as you do. Okay? Yeah, this is why I love Hostess, man. Y'all the best. Y'all the best. You're the best. All right. So when we know something, it becomes difficult for us to understand why people don't get it. I would argue you've all experienced this. How many people have had an experience where a friend of yours or a family member, maybe a boyfriend or girlfriend or something, they do an activity and you're kind of like, what were you thinking? Like, why would you do that? That makes no sense. Like, have you ever had an experience like that? Like, if you have in the chat, right? Yes. Where somebody does something and to you, it's obviously the wrong answer. It's obviously the wrong choice, but someone else does it and you're like, man, I can't understand why you would do it that, right? But we know, yeah, all right, I'm seeing the yeses coming. You know what that's like. The reason why is you have the curse of knowledge. The curse of knowledge says when you know something, it's hard to imagine a world where other people don't know what you know. It is hard, once you know something, it's hard to imagine a world in which other people don't know what you know. So it becomes, have you ever heard like a professor speak and you're in the class like, I got no idea what they're talking about, and you're just sitting there lost? The reason why you get lost is because that professor has the curse of knowledge. They are so knowledgeable and so intimate with their subject that they're speaking to you as if you have the same knowledge they have, but you don't. That's why you're in the class. So what is the cure for the curse of knowledge? Because if you start speaking, this is actually what's interesting. When you become an expert in what you do, it actually hurts you in becoming a great educator. I know that sounds weird, right? Because we all want to learn from experts. But here's the thing. The definition of an expert is someone who can think abstractly about something, okay? A novice, a beginner, can only think concretely about something, okay? So, for example, think about something you're very knowledgeable about, right? I bet you, Sabrina, I'm gonna use you as an example because you said you were in a marching band. So you're probably knowledgeable about drums. So when you're thinking about a drum performance, you're probably thinking about how do I spin I'm making this up because I'm not a drummer. How do I spin the stick in a way to add flair to my presentation? How do I position myself so I'm not messing up the people around me who's walking so that they can hear my sound, but my sound doesn't drown out the other players? How do I play it so that I'm keeping the rhythm, but keeping my breath at the same time, right? You're thinking about all these conceptual ideas where the novice is like, what are the notes? What's the bum, right? Like, what's the thing you need me to do? So a novice is thinking about it from this really simplistic perspective where the expert is thinking about it in this conceptual perspective, okay? So if you, like Layla says she knows a lot about tax law. If you know a lot about tax law, you're thinking about all sorts of things that the novice is gonna go, I can't even have a conversation with you because you're talking about things at a level about, well, how do I figure out taxes and I just want to know, how do I not go to jail and give me the most money, right? That's how the novice is thinking, but you're thinking there's so many nuances and there's so many, but if you do this and they do that, but if you have this formation, but only if you have this much money, but then you want to make sure that you're leveraging this particular law and it depends on what state you're in, right? That is the conceptual thinking. So our goal to get to the Starbucks strategy is first get clear, where do we want to take them? Then we go, where are they starting? Where are they going? And I got to figure out how to move them there. But I have to understand I can't think from my brain. This is the key. I'm about to give y'all some smoke, baby. I'm about to give y'all some smoke right now. I don't give this smoke out. This isn't stuff I give out, man. This is you got to know somebody to know somebody to know somebody to get what I'm about to reveal to you, okay? I have a course where what I'm about to show you, I only reveal it in that course and people pay for that course, okay? Y'all about to get the smoke, man. If y'all ready for the smoke, somebody say, give me the smoke. No, don't write that. I realize in hindsight, out of context, if you just took the click, no, don't say that, man. Because I realize if you edited my video and I just said, yo, give me the smoke, and then you put that on the internet, my whole career could be over. They'd be like, yo, Arel Moodie trying to sell drugs to college students. Like, no, don't write it. Come on, man. Stephanie, geez Louise. I don't think all my thoughts out fully sometimes. Geo 420. You're horrible, Geo. Horrible. Don't say give me the smoke. We just gonna go. We're just gonna go. We're just gonna go. No one edit this. Jason, when I give you this recording, don't edit that one part and make it look like I'm trying to sell smokes to people, okay? Jeez Louise. All right, here we go. Thank you, Jason. It's called the elevator technique. This right here, baby. I'm so excited to share this. This is one of my secret internal strategies that I use that has helped me tremendously become a better speaker. So we're at the Starbucks strategy. Again, the Starbucks strategy is, what's that one idea? What is that one concept that if they get is going to have the biggest impact in their life that I want them to get? And I want them to still know this 6 months from now. Now I need to move them from point A to point B, which is from where they are to where they want to go, which is this big idea I want to teach them. But I want to make sure they don't get caught up in not understanding something because I'm experiencing the curse of knowledge. The way that I do that is with the elevator technique. So I want you to imagine you've got an elevator. And whatever number you press takes you to that time in your life. So let's say you're 25 years old and you started college when you were 22 years old. Okay, let's say you didn't go directly out of high school, you worked a little bit, then you went to Hostos, okay? So let's say you were 22 years old when you started college. I want you to imagine that you press the number 22 on an elevator, and it's a magical elevator. And the elevator takes you back into time. And when the doors open up, standing right in front of you is the 22-year-old version of yourself. And you've got 10 minutes to talk to your past self. And you say, listen, past self, this is me, you from the future. I gotta give you some advice. I need you to listen to me. Now, assume this isn't one of those like apocalyptic movies where if like a butterfly flies by and you smack it and kill it, it causes the whole world to end because there's a butterfly effect that happens. Because that's what everyone always says. They say, oh, well, but if you told me all the things, it would change the course of history. And then based on every single movie I've seen, the whole world would be Terminator 3 and Arnold Schwarzenegger would be trying to murder us. I don't want to do this exercise. It's a fiction. That's a fiction movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger is a human. He's not a Terminator who's going to come back in time and murder a human, okay? You're not gonna go back in time and try to save your mom to hook him up with your dad. Back to the Future. This is a weird plot, by the way. Back to the Future is a weird plot. Okay, so just assume no butterfly effect is gonna cause the world to end. But what you can do is go back in time to your 22, and you can't say stuff like, "All right, yo, buy Bitcoin in 2010." buy a bunch of stock and take it out February 20th because the stock market gonna crash. When it crashes, do like buy a bunch of hand sanitizer because you could flip it for $2 a squirt. If y'all got Venmo, y'all can hit my Venmo up. I'm selling squirts for $2. I put it into a nice little rubber latex pouch and I'll ship it right to you. I'm joking. I don't have a Venmo. You can't find me on Venmo. Don't send me any money. Okay? All right. That'd be hot though. Like if in February, you was like, yo, February 2020, buy hand sanitizer. You about to cake out. Don't do that. So you can't do any of those things, right? So you can't say like buy these lottery tickets or invest in, Bitcoin or any of those kind of things. But what you can do is tell that 22-year-old version of yourself, dude, here are the steps that you need to take. Here are the strategies that you need to take to start being able to have incredible confidence. This is what I want you to do, to enjoy life more. Okay, Jason, we're going to use yours. These are the exact steps I need you to take, and this is what you're going to do that you're not supposed to do, and this is what you're going to do that's awesome, and this is going to be what you wish you did. My friends, that's how you put together your presentation. Then you might say to yourself, but Arel, this is what people say to me. My situation's so different. I can't tell them what I would do. I'm so unique. I'm kind of like if a unicorn and a sphinx had a baby, it would be me. I'm mythological. Ain't nobody in the world know what I know or been through what I've been through. It's not true, okay? It's not true. What you'll find is that there's something super important to you, right? Watch this. Let's play a little, let's do the elevator technique so we can see how powerful this is in real time, okay? I want you to imagine all of you get into the magical elevator, okay? And you press the button that gets you into Hostess the day before you start your time at Hostess, whether that was a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, whatever it might be, okay? I want you to imagine that you get into this elevator and you press the number that takes you to the exact day right before you start college. The door opens up and you get to see yourself. What is the one thing that you would want to tell yourself out of everything you could possibly tell yourself? What's the one thing you would want to tell yourself to make sure you do in this college process that would cause you the most happiness and avoid the most pain? So if you can, think about it, and in the chat, write your answer, and I'll wait. Okay. Someone said, go to the basement. I'm not going to ask you what that means, Tiana. That sounds personal. She also said, take advantage of opportunities presented to me. Great. So Tiana would say to herself, hey, self, right before you start college, you're going to be presented with a lot of opportunities. You got to take advantage of them. Then what I'd want you to do, Tiana, is tell your younger version of yourself, what are all of the things you need to do to take advantage of opportunities? What opportunities are going to be presented to you that you're going to turn down that you should take and why you should take them? So I want you to think about what you would tell yourself and flesh it out, okay? Charmaine says, build relationships with staff, faculty, and other student leaders. Perfect. So Charmaine, what you're going to do is go to your younger version and say, yo, you got to build relationships with staff, faculty, and other student leaders. Let me tell you why this is so important. Let me tell you who you need to be doing this with. Let me tell you who you need to not hang out with because they're going to like hold you back in a certain way and who you need to. Let me tell you what things will open up for you. So you would break all those steps down if you was giving your past self, like, the keys to the kingdom. Okay. Estelle said, be true to yourself always. Talk about what's going to cause you to not be true to yourself. What's going to cause you to doubt yourself? What's going to cause you to be someone else instead of being yourself? What are those moments that you will regret if you don't do? So Estelle, you would write out, here's all you have to do to be true to yourself. And here's all the things that are going to happen and the things that are going to get in the way, and here's how you deal with them. So you break that all down, Estelle, right? Jason says, go to the Leadership Academy office now. Facts, okay? Isaac said, get well connected. Get out of your comfort zone and make new relationships. All right, Isaac, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to say, how do you get well connected? What does the process look like to be well connected? How do you know if you're well connected? You got to get out your comfort zone. Why is that even important? How do you get out your comfort zone? What's examples of getting out your comfort zone? Okay. Making new relationships. How do you start a conversation with someone, right? So you literally imagine if you're sitting down with your past self, you're giving your past self the keys to the kingdom, and you breaking it down so that they have the most like epic journey. And you look at all of the mistakes you made and all the good decisions you made and all the things you wish you would have done, and you laid it all out. That, my friends, is your keynote. That, my friends, is your workshop. That, my friends, is your virtual training. Because now you're presenting it not from your expert status looking forward. You're presenting it from your expert status who understands stepping into the past, into the shoes of your audience, and then leading them to where you are. I cannot stress this enough. You do this, you give the best presentation anyone's ever seen. You give the most dynamic, the most powerful, the most, oh my gosh, you were speaking straight to my soul presentation. Because what most people do is they put together a presentation that's this generic, general thing that doesn't necessarily impact the individual, right? But when you put your presentation together in this way, you're putting together a presentation that's going to make people say, I get it. Yo, I don't know why, but I know you're speaking truth, because you are speaking truth. Now, for the person who goes, but Arel, I'm a unicorn. It's different for me. Focus on the principles, not the specificity, right? If you're like, oh, Arel, I'm an immigrant who was born in Haiti, and not everyone I'm speaking to is an immigrant who was born in Haiti. Okay, fine. That may be true from a specificity point of view, right? But from a principle point of view, your story is super beneficial for the average person, right? Because maybe you talk about why perceived ideas are become barriers for you. Because if you're someone who's an immigrant, maybe you have perceived ideas of what America is like, what your English skill set is like, whether it's good or bad, what people will view you as. So now you're starting to understand, well, what's people's perceptions of me? What are my perceptions of them? How does that perception affect or move you forward or hold you back, right? So these are super important. If you get down to the principles of what you're teaching, principles are universal. Principles stand the test of time, right? Being kind is a universal law. Being kind on social media is the specificity of the world today, right? There may never have been social media 100 years ago, so the laws weren't the same, but human nature, let me tell you something, human nature never changes. I'll prove it to you right now. Watch this. Who said this quote? Who said this quote? Young people today have no respect for their elders. They do too much idle chatter, idle talk, and they don't respect hard work. I'm paraphrasing, I'm not saying it exactly, but does anyone know who said that? Young people today don't respect their elders. They spend too much time doing idle chatter, idle talk, and they don't appreciate hard work. Does anyone know who said that? I'm paraphrasing it, but that's the concept of it. Jason says everyone's parents. Yes, true, but there was one person who said this, parents, grandparents. No, there's an actual individual, not like a genre of humans. But we're saying parents, right? Grandparents. I'll just tell you. Do you know who said it? Socrates. Do y'all know who Socrates is? When was Socrates alive? Hold on. Let me Google this right now. When was Socrates alive? I gotta put this together. Hold on. Socrates. When was he alive? He was alive in 399 BC. No, he died in 399 BC. He died. So he was probably, people back in the day, he was probably born in if he died in 399, he was probably born in 388. They didn't live long back in the day. When he was 40, it was like, why are you alive? Are you a dinosaur? They didn't kind of live long back then. But here's my point. 399 BC, they had the same problems and perceptions of youth as we have of youth right now. Do you get that? Do you get, like, you can look that quote up. It's a real quote from Socrates. Like, do you get that? Human nature doesn't change. Watch, you know what doesn't change? Sadness doesn't change. Love doesn't change. Humility, being humiliated, power, growth, joy, love, anger, emotions, universal. So if you look for the principles and the concepts and the emotions and the universal concepts behind what you do, then you make your story applicable to everyone, but you tell it in the specific story of you talking to your younger self. Nail it. So here's the thing. Whenever you're asked to speak to a group of people, the reason why you're typically being asked to speak is because you have knowledge your audience doesn't. So all you have to do is go back into time when you were similar to the people in that audience and then work your way to where you are today. Now you may say, but Arel, what if I'm speaking to people who are older than me? Well, even if you're speaking to people who are older than you, you're speaking to a group of people who don't understand something. So for example, I spoke to a group of people who are much more successful than me, but I spoke about public speaking skills. So I may go, they're all way more like business successful more successful than I am, but I got to go back to when I knew nothing about public speaking and then bridge going from nothing to public speaking to where I am today about public speaking. Well, now I can go back to where I was and where I needed to go and walk them through, similar to the presentation I'm giving you right now. Isaac, it's 100% a form of empathy because you're understanding them and what they're going through now by putting yourself in their shoes, by putting yourself into your shoes when your shoes were similar to their shoes. If you could follow that train of logic, you're putting yourself in their shoes, which is really your shoes that were similar to a period of time when it was their shoes. Okay, you follow that. You're sharp humans. Okay, do me a favor. I'm talking a little bit, but I gotta make sure. Is this making sense to you? In the chat, if this makes sense, let me know. If you're lost or if anything's not making sense, please, please, please let me know. I wanna make sure that you are getting this from start to finish. Is this clear? If I put you in a position, would you be able to sit down and say, yo, I get it, I'm getting it? If not, you need to let me know because who knows, now that you know this information, Jason may say, all right, y'all gotta go give a presentation now. He got all your, we got the chat here. You know, we got what Maritza would do about always networking and what Stephanie would do about choosing your friends wisely. And we got Tiana about don't be scared to take a leap. And we got Charmaine about allowing people to identify with you. Jason could ask all of you to do a presentation on those individual subjects. And Jason, no pressure, but I might encourage you to consider it because this would be an incredible way for people to learn and practice what we're actually talking about because you can't, you know, you can't teach a kid to ride a bike in a seminar, all right? You just can't. So practice is the most important thing. But we got one more thing to do. All right, all right. So is this good, y'all? This is making sense? Okay, everybody got it? Good, good, good. Everyone's saying yes, yes, yes. Perfect, okay. So what you wanna think about is now that I'm in their shoes and I'm moving them, okay, from where they are through the Starbucks strategy to where I want them to be. What's the big idea? What's the one thing I want them to get? Okay. I know my starting point, who they are. I know my end point. I understand to know their starting point, you got to know your audience. Very important. You got to know who your audience is. You got your end point and you're moving there. You got to make sure you don't let the curse of knowledge stop you. So you have to start thinking about, okay, how do I get them there? I use the elevator technique. But their elevator technique is going to run into some barriers because just because I tell you, think about it. If I told you, hey, don't eat cookies, eat broccoli, I might tell you what to do, but there's not many people that's going to say, oh, word, don't eat the broccoli. All right, I'm done with broccoli. I'm just going to eat, I'm done with cookies because you said don't eat cookies, I'm going to eat broccoli. So you have to understand that if I were trying to convince you to never eat cookies again and only eat broccoli. Instead, when you want cookie, eat broccoli. you got to understand there's going to be barriers to you taking action. There's going to be part of you go, but a cookie makes me feel good. The cookie understands me. The cookie doesn't ask questions. The cookie just knows my feelings. And they make me feel good, right? Broccoli don't do that for me. So I have to go through this process of trying to understand, why wouldn't someone take action? Why wouldn't they listen to me? Why would the actions I'm asking them to take cause them to say no? What's new about what I'm asking them to do? What's different about what I'm asking them to do? What's unique about what's asking them to do? And I need to address those in my presentation. You know, because ultimately, if you have a barrier, if I say, hey everyone, I want to show you how to give a great presentation, and you go, all right, cool. And I say, okay, it's time for you to give the presentation. And you go, oh, no, I'm scared of people. I ain't gonna do it. Well, now there's a barrier. So I spent all this time teaching this stuff, but if you just have this fear of speaking, then I just wasted my time. So I'd have to say, well, why wouldn't you? Now, in this particular concept, I would say, well, most people are afraid of speaking because they're afraid of looking stupid. That's the biggest fear. I don't want to go up there and do a presentation or go on stage and look stupid. Now, here's the good news. This is true, by the way. This changed my whole perspective on confidence. Do you know what's the worst thing that happens if you go up on a presentation and you suck? You know what's the worst thing that happens? Nothing. Nothing. No, seriously, let me explain this. You got to get this. This is the most that happens. Let's say I do this webinar with y'all. I do this virtual training and I suck. Who knows? Some of you might be like, this dude sucks. Looking like a low budget Kanye West, Shamar Moore lookalike. I don't like this dude, right? Like, you could be saying all these things to yourself right now. I don't know, right? But if I sucked and this presentation was a total waste of your time, do you know what's the worst thing that happens? Is that after this presentation, you go, well, that was stupid. And then you go on with your life. Don't you? Think about the last class you went to that was horrible. Did you go to your friends and be like, the professor is horrible? Did you go write a blog post about how horrible the professor was? Did you go send an email to all of his faculty associates saying how ridiculously bad of a presenter your professor was? Did you contact his boss and request he be removed immediately from the institution because he's so boring? No, at best what you said was, man, that was horrible. And then you went and ate a taco and you moved on with your life. Yo, this is the beauty of it. People think that when they bomb, the world is gonna turn on them. Now there's a difference between, like, if I went on stage and I was like, Black people are bad and Asian people are bad, right? Don't edit that part too. That's a part, like, if you just took that one part, Jason, and edited it, I would look like a horrible person. I'm African-American, my wife is Asian. I love everybody, okay? What I'm saying is, if I went on to this presentation and I started talking bad about people, then yeah, of course, you have the right to be mad at me. You have the right to write letters, and you have the right to be angry. And you should be, and you should do something about people who are attacking you. You should, right? But if I try to genuinely help you and I just don't do it in a good way, at best, you just go eat your lunch. And at lunch, you might be like, yo, that presenter sucked. Do you remember anything they said? No, I don't. But you heard that Kourtney Kardashian punched Kim Kardashian? Word. And then you move on with your life. That's life. That's what happens in the real world. So once you realize that, you have this incredible freedom to present. Because if you're giving from your heart and you're presenting authentically and you're trying to help people and care for them in the largest way possible, you really can't fail. And at worst, if you do, people just move on with their life. It's pretty amazing. It's almost fail-proof. But if you do the stuff we talk about today, like, you can't fail. All right, so it leads me to my last point of this workshop. Has this been helpful so far? I'm about to give you out a fire at the end here. Has this been helpful? If I suck, just say, dude, you're garbage. You can say basura. I know we got a lot of Spanish speakers. You can say basura. I won't be offended. Yo, how many languages we got? How many languages? All right, do me a favor. If you speak another language, right, it's good in the language you speak. If it has like English letters, if it has different letters, you can obviously not do it. If it's trash, write basura or trash. You know, I don't know like what your language is. Okay. Oh, we got some French. We got some Arabic. Oh my goodness, I don't know what that one is. Someone said yes, very good. That's clearly English. C'est bon. C'est bon. Did I say that right? C'est bon. Okay. Lucidly said basura. I'm not offended. Estelle speaks 13 languages. Overachiever. Golly, who speaks 13 languages? What are you, a computer? Is your name Rosetta Stone, Estelle? Is that your middle name? Are you Estelle Rosetta Stone Nambi? I'll probably say your last name wrong. I apologize. Jeez Louise, 13 languages. Typical African. Overachievers, such hard workers. Jeez Louise. All right, y'all. I love Hostess. All right, let's go to my last point here. So now, she got 13 cooking styles too. Y'all need to hang out with her more. She's speaking 13 languages and cooking 13 kinds of food. Good Lord. Estelle, you're going to make a whole lot of friends. Okay. Okay. So let's wrap up with the audience learning loop. Okay. Now, let's recap. You go, what's the Starbucks strategy? What's the single most important idea that I want someone to learn? I'm going from here to there. I don't want to get caught up in the curse of knowledge. I want to get people, Jason says she goes funny. All right. I want to get them from here to there, but I don't want to make them messed up with my curse of knowledge. So I need to go back in time and use the elevator technique. I use the elevator technique, but I'm aware that they're going to have barriers to actually taking the advice. I need to address those barriers. How do I help someone learn? This is why we do presentations. This is why we do something publicly in front of people offline, and why we do like what I'm doing online. I don't want you to just hear me speak and then go like this. Yo, what did you learn today? Huh? You ever have that move? Teacher call you, hey, what'd you learn today? Huh? Why we do that? We go, huh? What? You heard what they said, but you're hoping that if you say, huh, and they repeat themselves, you'll gain just enough time to catch yourself, and you don't. They say, hey, quick, what'd you learn today, Jason? Huh? What? Then you repeat the question slowly. What did I learn today? What did I learn today? It's a very, very good question. You start complimenting them. Very good question. You're a very good question asker. What did I learn today? I learned a lot. What'd you learn? What was your favorite part? Huh? What was your favorite part? What? My favorite part? Everything. That's what we do, because we don't learn anything. We don't know what's your favorite. Everything. What didn't you like? Nothing. You don't want that when you present, right? You would ideally want people to actually remember things and 6 months from now, do the Starbucks strategy. There's something called the audience learning loop, okay? The audience learning loop is what allows you to make sure that your audience actually learns, okay? So let's show you what it is. Let me move this. Okay. First one is the audience has to bring data in. Everyone is excellent at step one. So step one is me telling you something, okay? I share an idea with you, I speak to you. If you've ever had a presenter or a professor just literally stand at a lectern and just speak at you, you know about bringing data in, okay? So you have to bring data in. But let me show you how the learning happens. After I bring data in, I have to process the data. I have to actually think about it and make it make sense to me, right? And I'm gonna show you how this all works in real time, okay? So step one is I gotta bring the data in. So you as a presenter, you have to make sure you're doing a presentation so that you're speaking. That's the easy part. The second part is building into your presentation an ability for people to process what you just asked them to do, okay? The next thing that you want to do is take an action on what you just taught them to do. Okay, so if they take an action on what you told them to do, they start saying, okay, I start beginning to learn. Okay, so they bring data in, I share something with you. You take a moment to think and process it. Then you have your audience take some form of an action with it, which leads us to our final and fourth step, which is, I think, let me get it. Boom, you get feedback, okay? This is called an audience learning loop. If you structure your presentation so that your audience brings data in, processes that data, takes an action with that data, and then gets feedback from that data and that action they took, that's where learning begins. Now, for example, when we did the elevator technique, did you notice I asked you what would be what you would tell yourself? Okay. If you could go back in time right before you were a day at Hostos and you can give yourself advice based on this elevator technique, based on the Starbucks strategy, what would you tell yourself? So what I did in that step, and I'm giving, like, normally I wouldn't tell you what I'm doing while I'm doing it, but I'm doing this for you because I want you to learn in real time what's happening, okay? You brought the data in, you then had to process it. What would I tell myself? So there's a processing of this whole concept. So it moves from conceptual, I'm talking about this idea of a Starbucks strategy, okay? Now we go to elevator technique. Okay, what would I tell myself? Now you start thinking about what was your life like and what did you learn? Then I have you take an action. Do me a favor, write in the comments, in the chat box, what would be what you would tell yourself? So now you're taking an action and you're not just thinking about it, you're having to verbalize it in a short period of time, right? Do. Okay? So you're taking the action. Pow, 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 pow. Then I'm giving feedback. Okay, so if you're gonna say this, Charmaine, what are you gonna do with it? You're gonna say this, Stephanie. Okay, great, this is where you can go with it. Here's where you would do this, and how would you do this? Oh, you gotta be true to yourself. How do you do it? How do you not? So now I'm giving you feedback to it. So now you get feedback to it, and then that allows you to get better at it and bring more data in. And again, Jason, if you want to do this, please feel free to do this. Invite people to do 20-minute presentation or 15-minute presentation on what advice they would give to themselves the day before they started Hostos, right? And you can have a whole cool series about that if you so wanted to, right? So if all of you say, cool, I'm willing to do that, you bring in the data, you process it, what did I learn from Arel? You take an action, you present it, and then when you present it, you're gonna get feedback when you present. That feedback's gonna be, oh, my audience liked it, or afterwards people ask me questions, or people hit me up on social media, or people did some stuff like that. People really laughed at these jokes. Oh, that's good feedback. And then that's more data that comes in, and you take all of this evidence and all this feedback, right? And then you have more data to process. And then you take another action, you give the presentation again, and you get more feedback from what people said about it. You take that feedback, you bring that data in, and now your audience is working the loop-de-loop. We're gonna do this move right here. Do me a favor, I can't see you. Just do this move. We'll call this the audience learning loop. All right, let's do some kinesthetic learning real quick. Are you doing it? I can't tell because I can't see you. At the end of this presentation, I'm gonna turn everybody's video back on and we're gonna do this move, and I'm gonna take a screenshot and Jason's gonna post it, and we're gonna say we're doing the audience learning loop. Nobody's gonna know what that means except us because they weren't about it. We about it, audience learning loop. All right, so we're all gonna do that, right? Now, another way for you to simplify, I know I'm wilding out with y'all, man, I'm having fun, is very simply crowd interactions, right? So now, do me a favor, in the chat, has anyone attended one of my presentations at Hostos, like in person? Jason has, yes, Jason, thank you, okay. Okay, yeah, all right, great. So all of you have attended my live presentations. Have you noticed in my presentations, there's always, oh, Joshua said that's what made me, that's why we made it back. Oh, warm in my soul, Joshua, right? But if you can remember back to my presentations, I had you talk to the person next to you. Depending upon what presentation we're in, I may have called up a volunteer and had them share their story. I called people out and had them share one of the exercises we did. I had some people maybe jump and do a jumping exercise or do a writing down exercise. So what happens is a crowd interaction is a simple way to bring in an audience learning loop, right? So if I want people to bring data in and then process the data, I just can't talk to them the whole time. I have to create moments where they can process the data and then take some form of an action so they can get feedback. And typically in a presentation, it comes in the form of a crowd interaction. Simple ones are what like we're doing now. Hey, here's my thing, write down what you're doing. If this was live, I would have you turn to the person next to you and share it with that person. And then you guys can talk about it and give each other feedback about it. And then it actually helps concrete and create a higher learning loop, which is super powerful. Okay, so let's recap. The single big idea, if you remember nothing from this presentation, okay, if you remember nothing, I want you to remember the Starbucks strategy. This whole presentation is predicated and built around this concept that when you put together a live training or a virtual training, the single idea, the biggest idea you want them to get is how you start and deliver incredible presentation. Then what we did is we worked our way backwards, right? Well, how do you do that? Okay, I gotta focus on what's the single biggest idea. Well, I gotta know where they are, who's my audience, what age are they, what demographic are they, what are they like, what are they going through, and then I need to put myself into their shoes and go back into the point in time where I was similar to them. Then you get in the elevator and go back in time and speak to yourself, giving yourself the keys, giving yourself the steps on everything you need to do to get to the place that you are today. You lay out what you would tell them and talking about all the reasons why they should, all the benefits of them doing it. Then you get aware of why they won't take action, right? What are their barriers to entry? Right? And you address those barriers of entry so that they can move forward. You give them the opportunity to learn and process what you're saying along the way. Because if you just speak for an hour straight, it's like, I mean, we've been going for an hour and a half. I mean, I've been having a ton of fun. I don't know if it feels like an hour and a half to you, but to me, it feels super, super fun and super, super quick, right? And you guys are amazing. And I appreciate y'all being so engaged and so involved. And, you know, maybe you folded one less pair of socks because of this presentation, but hopefully you learned something that will benefit you literally for the entirety of your collegiate and professional career. You can use this forever. So if you have something for college or for your professional presentation, you just sit down and go, all right, what's my Starbucks strategy? What's my Starbucks? What's my one big idea? All right, here's where my audience is. I got to get them there. But I got to remember, I can't go from my perspective because I have the curse of knowledge. I know it already. I got to go back in time to when I was my younger version of myself and bring myself forward. Why wouldn't my audience listen to me? How do I make this concrete? How do I let them learn throughout the process to get the audience feedback loop, which is taking information in, processing that information, taking action with it, and then getting feedback from it? You do that, and my friends, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, Joshua, you got it so easy. You're such a great presenter. You're going to say, no, it's because I got involved with the Hostos Leadership Academy. I hang out with Jason, and he be giving us bomb presenters, and we be learning stuff. You should have got your pen, baby. You ain't get your pen. You just went to college and played NBA 2K, and you wondering why you home and alone without any ambition. Join the Leadership Academy, people. Changes your life, okay? Change your life. Jason cares about y'all. Y'all always hear me talk about how much Jason cares. Jason cares. Jason hits me up and goes, yo, we gotta hook y'all up. And we don't know what to do. He reaches out to me. I said, I got your back, J-Dog. That's why I call him. You don't know I call him that. I call him, I'm like, yo, I spoke to Jay. I talked to my wife. I said, I spoke to J-Dog today. She go, who that? Jason Livefeld. He was like, man, that's the big dog. Woof. I'm gonna pause right there. That's a fine place to end this presentation at J-Dog, woof, big dog. When y'all see Jason, I want you to be like, give me the growl, Jason. And he's gonna go, woof. Okay. I'm gonna open it up for questions in about 1 minute. Okay. Oh, Jason gave us a woof. Jason gave us a woof in the chat. Yo, I think Jason just like balanced the powers. I think the coronavirus cure is about to come out. Jason just gave us a woof. The coronavirus is about to get cured. The world's about to come back into balance. Jason just gave us the big dog woof. All is good. So I'm going to open up for questions in a second. What I'd like for you to do is start thinking about the Starbucks strategy, the elevator technique, the learning loop, right? This big idea. I want you to ask yourself, are there any points that may not make sense to you? Are there any points that you feel like, okay, but if Jason asked me to do the presentation that he just asked me to do, would I do it? Could I do it? What would stop me? What would feel unclear to me? What would make me feel unsure? I want you to ask those questions so that I can help walk you through it so you can be the most powerful version of yourself, okay? Because I would tell you, if you all did do a video series via like this video where you recorded videos, you giving your the younger version of yourself advice based on what we talked about today, and Jason, I'll send you this chat document so you have it. I think if you put that together and made that into like a video series that was made available to incoming students, they would be really appreciative and they would learn a lot. You could actually impact a lot of lives. So, no pressure, but I'm throwing a little challenge to you all to step up and give for the future. And you could be a part of people's lives. And it could potentially be this library that grows and grows over time. So it could be really, really cool and really, really helpful. So I hope that you consider it. I saw someone raise their hand. Who raised their hand? Wait, where'd it go? Oh, I didn't even know I could do this. Oh, I just learned something. Oh, I could put a mustache on myself. Did y'all know y'all could do this on Zoom? I just learned something. Oh, snap. I'm about to give me the French mustache. Hold on. Did y'all know you could do this? Ho, ho, ho. Oui, oui, oui. Speak to the students. That's a horrible French accent. I also could be the villain from Sonic the Hedgehog. Hold on. There we go. Did y'all know y'all could do this? I didn't know you could do this. This is amazing. I can annotate it. I am the villain from Sonic the Hedgehog. I will catch you, Hedgehog. Oui, oui. Sacre bleu. I am a real Moodie. Hold on, I'm about to hook my goatee up. What you know about, you see that line? Barber precision right there. You can leave this in, Jason. Let me just let me fill it in. Ooh. Let me fill it in. Ooh. I'm about to be in an R&B group right now, man. I look like a member of Blackstreet right there. You see that? That's sharp, baby. I got like, it's French on top, urban New York City on the bottom. No one's ever done this look. Urban on the bottom, French villain on the top. All right, I'm gonna stop. You're right. All right, let me clear it. All right, let me just stop. Okay, we're done. Okay, we're done. All right, questions. Sorry. Tiana, I am having too much fun with this. I am quite entertained by simple things in life. Okay. Lucidly. All right, let me get you open here. All right, there we go. Unmute. Miss Perez, can you hear me?
Yes.
Who put hair on my head? I didn't know y'all could give me an afro. All right, that's great though. All right,
for clarification, just for clarification, Arel, I didn't say that your presentation was basura. I was just bragging with my Spanish. So I was so sorry about that you didn't get the joke, but I would never say that. You are amazing, and thank you for always being here for SLA, and we really appreciate that you always there to support us.
Oh, that means so much to me. Thank you so very much. I really, really appreciate you saying that. And y'all are special to me. So thank you for acknowledging. It really does mean a lot to me. So thank you. All right. Who else has questions? Tiana just drew an afro on me. Tiana just told on herself. Oh, Lord have mercy. People are right. Oh, everybody's controlling my slides. All right, I'm gonna stop the share. Okay. Y'all were about to draw some phallic symbols. I couldn't have it. I'm sorry. I can't trust your college students. I can't trust you right now. Somebody would have went, oh, I'm gonna draw a phallic symbol and then it's gonna be embarrassing. And Jason's gonna screenshot it and he's gonna post it on the Facebook and go, ha ha ha, I can't. And they're gonna go #woof. It's too much. It's too much. Okay, it's too much. All right. Okay, Mustafa has a question. I'm gonna unmute you. Where's Mustafa? There we go. Unmute. Mustafa. Mustafa, you there?
Yeah, what's up, man?
What's up, brother? How we doing?
Good, man. That was a very nice presentation, man. Enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Listen, man, I had one question. I wanted to know what's a good way to try to like include everybody when you're giving a speech. You know, you don't want to leave anybody left out. What's a good way to really like include everybody?
Okay, great question. Fantastic question. So number one, you can do that I'd give you 3 easy ways to do it. Okay, 3 easy ways to include everyone. Number one, if you're in a physical live presentation, you want to move across the stage. What most people do is they stand in one spot, like behind the lectern, or they just feel comfortable. So imagine you have a room full of people and I only stand over here. All these people feel left out. So one of the things that I physically do is I move my body. If anyone remembers my presentations, you'll remember that I would move like down the aisles, back, to the left, to the right, because I physically want them to see me. And then I look at every section. In my mind, I imagine the room is, let me try to draw it real quick.
Are you making eye contact with anybody?
Yeah, so let's say that this is the, wait, oh, you know what? I think I could, no one draw on my screen. I know someone's gonna be foolish. Oh wait, I got a whiteboard here. Okay, y'all see my whiteboard? So I imagine that the audience looks like a tic-tac-toe table, okay? So you got people here, people here, people here, and this is me presenting right here, okay? This is me, because I'm cool like that, right? So this is me presenting, and I'm gonna look at this part of the room when I'm presenting. Then I'm gonna look at this part of the room when I say my next point. Then I'm gonna look at this point, and then, you know, this point, and then this point, and this point, and this point, and this point. I don't have to make eye contact with everybody in the room. I just need to look at those sections, and everyone in that section will believe I'm looking directly at them. So it's not like I gotta be like, oh, I'm talking to you, 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 I'm talking to you. No, it's just 9 sections. And if it's a small room, then it's 6. 3 in the front, 3 in the back. If it's a large room, it's 3 in the front, 3 in the middle, 3 in the back. And I'm making sure I'm physically moving my eye contact to each section so no section feels left out. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm making sure I do interactions, because I can't have everyone volunteer, but I can have everyone talk to the person next to them. So by them talking to the person next to them, they're being engaged in the presentation, even though I physically can't talk to each one. And then the third thing that I do is I talk about universal principles, right? What year were you born, if you don't mind me asking?
96.
Okay, so you were born in a totally different decade than me. I don't know what it's like to be born in 96. I was born in the 80s, right? You got hair on your head. I don't have hair on my head. I'm jealous, right? You can fill your beard out. This is about as much as it goes over here. I got this at tops, right? So we have these small, little, insignificant differences, but you and I both know what it feels like to want more for our family, but maybe be confused on how we should get it. We know what it feels like to want more for ourselves, but sometimes feel like, well, maybe I'm not good enough. We both know what it feels like to be really confident about something and really want to go after and help people. So those universal ideas never ever go away. So even though we're born in different decades and you have more glorious hair than I do, we share a lot of universal human emotions that are the same. So as long as I build my presentation on those type of universal ideas, if I give specific strategies that don't apply to everyone, the principle still does, and they still can get something from it.
So you're saying build on those little points that everybody shares.
Exactly, that you build on principles, you build on human emotion, you build on human nature, right? So if I teach you, hey man, choose one big idea, and that's what you're gonna build your Starbucks strategy around, that one big idea could be anything. Now, if I say confidence, you may not think confidence is your thing. I may think confidence is my thing. That's the specific stuff that doesn't matter if it doesn't necessarily include you. But that big idea does include you. So as long as I'm creating content that's got those big ideas, human emotion, fear, courage, strength, success, improvement, then I'm covering everybody.
Thank you, man.
All right, you're welcome, brother. All right. Who's got a question? Going to the chat here. Yeah, we can bring everyone on screen. Let's go into let's bring everybody on screen. All right. Everybody unmute yourself and take your video and turn your video on. Unless you got a warrant. Then I ain't gonna ask you to do it because you don't want the po-po coming. Broken. Y'all are all fine. Okay. All right, hold on. Everybody, start your video. We're gonna do the group photo in a second.
I can't get in.
You can't get in?
This is Maritza.
Sabrina?
This is Maritza. Can you unmute my video or something? Because I can't start it.
Damn, please, thank you.
Yeah, Maritza. You started now.
I'm just recovering from the flu or flu-like symptoms. I'm not sure what I had. But yeah.
Somebody talk about the flu. What is happening? All right, y'all. Jason, can you hear me?
On everybody.
All right, here you go. That's what's up. I'm gonna get you in. I can see Carol is muted. I got you.
Arel, can you unlock me, please?
Where are
Loose
you?
lady.
Who said that?
Loose lady. Perez.
What do you need me to do?
On camera, I can't put it.
Oh yeah, same here.
Stop it.
Dang it. There's too many people talking. I don't know what you're saying. This is the limitation.
It says that the internet connection is unstable.
I know someone's background is noisy. I don't know who it is. Stephanie, start your video.
He says you can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
I didn't stop it.
Who has noise in the background?
Is it working now? Who in the chat? If you can't get in, let me know. In the chat, if you're stuck, let me know.
Turn off that TV or whatever it is.
Jason, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you say woof?
What?
Can you say woof?
No.
Big dog, come on, big dog, J dog. I knew we could do it. All right. Can anyone in the chat let me know if you can't get in? I'll try to see if I can.
Also, for those who want to see everybody, you can just hit the grid, and then all the photos will pop up.
Yeah, it says speaker view in the upper right-hand corner. If you click that, it'll go to gallery view, and you can see all of us.
Where?
If you're on your phone, I'm not sure exactly where it is.
Oh, there's not. You can't do it on your phone.
You can't do it on your phone?
Mm-mm.
It says.
Where do we go?
If you're on your computer, just mouse over my face, and then in the upper right corner, it should say gallery view. click that, and then everybody will come up and you can see everybody.
It's a nice picture you got there, Jason.
You mean of the Dominican Republic behind me?
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Am I getting everybody? Is there anyone else who wants to join? Yeah.
Where's my shit?
There we go.
I haven't seen like half of you in the SLA program before, man.
Oh, okay. See. Hey, yo.
What up, everybody? Estelle, you speak 13 languages for real, for real?
Yes, sir. Shani.
Amazing.
Say bueno.
We
Bueno.
know. What up?
It
All right.
means good.
Jason, do you want to do more questions? Do you want to take the roll video? What you want? The loop video? What you want to do, brother? You weren't paying attention?
Huh?
Huh? What?
Why are you yelling? What happened?
The video.
You don't understand?
Like this. Everyone's gonna do like
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and I'm gonna take
Wolf.
the shot.
Okay.
We could
You
put it-
guys do it. I'll record.
Come on. Jason is such a. I feel like Jason, like in a past life, murdered a bunch of people, and he like restarted as Jason lived out, and he's like trying to atone for his sins. Like he was like not like he was a murderer, like he was in like the army or something, and he was in wars, and he like murdered many people, and this is the way that he finds peace by like helping the next
My
generation.
friends.
That's what I see. 'Cause, like,
I have to
Jason,
post this.
take a picture with me, Jason. He's like, nah, man, no. I
It
just
makes sense.
like in a past life, he was like in the jungle, taking people out.
Okay, I can't record off of the phone for some reason.
I got you. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. On the count of three, we're gonna take a few pictures. The first one is gonna be a big smile. So everyone, give me a big smile. On three, 1, 2, 3.
Why the fucking picture not working?
All right, everyone, give me a funny face. On the count of three, just let whatever your emotion is come out. Just give me, just let it fly. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. Last one. Everyone, give me the roll out. Give me the roll out.
Hey.
We just all had a moment. We just all had a virtual moment. Y'all are all separate, but we all feel together right now, and that is the beautiful. Where we are right now. Beautiful thing.
That was funny.
Was this helpful, y'all? Did you feel like this was a good use of your time? Do you feel like you learned some things? Yeah.
Very helpful, man.
Yes.
Thank you
I
so
really
much.
enjoyed the elevator technique.
Stuff, man.
Wonderful. Thank you,
It
Maria.
was great.
Thank you.
Oh, it was great.
Is there anything you want to do before we say enjoy the weekend?
What is going on? I'm getting an alert on my phone. Attention all healthcare workers.
Yes. Everybody's getting that.
Oh,
What
I
happened?
know. Everybody got the same time, right?
What's the text?
About the healthcare workers.
What they
That
text?
didn't come out
Every
my
healthcare
We need
worker.
healthcare workers to go to work to hospitals and facilities in need.
Dang. Yo, New York
There,
City.
there, sir. There it is.
You there?
There it is.
Wow, right now.
There
Emergency.
it is.
Yeah, we all got the emergency notification.
Are you all hospital workers?
Yes.
No.
Well, I'm an essential worker. I work at a supermarket.
We're all essential.
I mean, yes.
Oh, yeah.
But
No.
why they texting y'all?
No, it goes to everyone.
You know, there's a nurse right now who just got off a triple shift, who was about to like enjoy like a chocolate milk, and they got that text, and they were like,
I know, right?
"It's too much,
What?
too much." It's crazy, man. Like, I mean, we got to take care of each other out there, man. I hope everybody's staying safe. Like, I know we didn't really touch on the whole COVID-19 situation.
I just recovered, so
Who did? Chancellor?
yeah.
Man, how are you feeling right now, brother?
A lot better.
Yeah. Did you go through the worst of it?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, my body, I've never gone through so many changes so quickly. Yeah, like,
Wow.
it was first, it was just a cough, then I had chills, then my body just sank, and then everything hurt, and it was, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's really bad. It's
How
really
long
bad.
did the whole process last for you, like from start to finish?
I didn't keep track of it. I want to say maybe, I don't know.
Wow. Wow.
But I think that if I didn't have the support I had in mind, that, you know, I probably would have been just like, I don't even want to be here type.
Man, it's
But
Let me add something to that. May
Yeah.
To end up a little and the stigma that we have and that has been created around COVID-19 about that if you get it, you'll die. And like, to be honest, like I have nearly 10 people that I know, that I personally know, that they are positive. Like they are positive and they got tested because they were in contact with somebody that got really sick. And they don't present no symptoms. And like a lot of people are gonna get like a flu, and it's actually the COVID-19, and we're not gonna die. It's just a matter of, you know, if you have an underlying condition. So sometimes we are like the stigma that if you get it, you'll die is what got us in this mental health crisis that we getting right now. So like
I just posted, if anybody's connected with me on Facebook, or if you're not connected with me, just put Arel Moodie. I'm the only Arel Moodie on Facebook. It's very, very easy.
Really?
If you go to my page on Facebook, I posted this video by this guy named Prince EA, I think is his name. He posted this really, really great video about the state of affairs that we're in, but from a perspective that I thought was very positive in terms of the mental health angle that I think you were just touching upon. So I encourage all of you to watch it. I'll share it to Jason, and he'll put it on the Hostos page if he so chooses, so you can watch it if you'd like to. I think it's worth watching to keep everything into perspective of what we're going through right now.
Got it.
All right, thank you,
Thank you
Arel.
for sharing. Yeah, thank you both for sharing. Thank you very both for sharing.
Well, so I'm glad you're okay, Chancellor.
Yes, sir.
Loose lady, thank you. Yeah, these are strange times that we're living in, but I'm glad that we can still gather together on Friday afternoons and get a little educated and share a little experience. And so let's give Arel a nice round of applause for his work today. When we're usually in our meetings in the room where we usually do our workshops, I say, you know, some of the folks who come and visit with us are really great tangential mentors, meaning that they're not like going to be behind you every 5 steps, but they will provide you with insights and advice over the course of your experiences with them. And the one thing I can say in knowing Arel for 12 years is that he's truly done this with our students. And people who have invested time in him and asked him for insights and knowledge, and he has given of himself to all of them, and people still speak highly of him and still come back and see him when he comes to the campus, and even have popped in here over the course of the last 2 hours. So take advantage of the opportunity of knowing him, getting to know him, and watching him, because I mean, he has blossomed himself over the course of, you know, the 14 years that he's been doing this, to do some extraordinary stuff, to be recognized internationally. And the fact that he's willing to come back even on a moment's notice and share some time with us is very special to me, because I value him, and I try not to bother him too much, because he's such a big shot now. I only ask him to come in once a year. This is like a special occasion where I needed somebody. At the last minute, I could only think that there's only one person who I knew I could trust at the last minute with you guys, and that was Arel. So I want one. Thank you, Arel.
Thank you, Jason.
I love you. I appreciate you. I want to say, Marley and I were drinking. We were having snacks the other night, and we were eating. We were reading the purple. What's the purple?
Your Purple Penguin.
Purple Penguin book. He wrote a children's book, and Marley got out the Purple Penguin book. We were reading it together while we were doing snacks. Because I'm a teacher now of a 3-year-old as much as I am an educator for all of you guys. So thank you for that too, that nice gift.
My pleasure.
No, and you know, it looks like things are going to be a little bit more challenging over the next couple of weeks, but we're going to continue to do what we're doing. I know you guys are supposed to have like some sort of spring break or whatever you're going to call it. I'll put it in quotes
Been
up
cut
here.
short, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to still have a workshop next
Break
week.
into your bedroom.
Yeah.
Hate it.
The reason why we're going to have the workshop next week is because I believe that we have to keep doing this. And if you can be here,
People
that's
like
great.
connected, you know, people can get involved, you know, don't be sad staying at home, you know, or depressed, you know. We're all gonna get this together. Just stay positive.
So we're going to continue to do it until the end of the semester, and then we'll see where we do from there.
Sounds
But,
great, man.
we're going to keep it rolling. So
Yeah.
Arel, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you everyone for spending your Friday afternoon. It's a true pleasure to be connected with you, whether it's in person or virtual. It truly is a blessing. And I hope that you use what we talked about today in the real world, because that's where this will make the most sense to you. And you can see how powerful it really is.
Bro, would you mind if I made an announcement real quick?
No, I can't make an announcement.
No.
Make an announcement, Jason.
No announcement. If it's a political announcement, then the other group has got to be here too. To make
That's
it.
your fault, man. You're not here,
Thank you,
it's
Mustafa.
I'm here, man.
No political announcements during the workshop.
It's just general information.
What is the general information?
The general information is that the election is still going on,
Okay.
and we're very, very excited about what's going on around
I
here.
was excited about what's going on.
And
And we will share the information about it.
All right.
Yes.
So
Everybody's gonna get an email, my friend.
Can we
everybody's gonna get the email. All right, that's fine.
Thank
But
you.
just so you guys know, we're the face of the Hostos Visionaries. Now, I'm not promoting anything,
Uh-huh.
but I would
We
definitely.
already said too much. Let's say what the other.
Bro, slow for that.
I'm recording.
Like that right there.
Great. That's fine.
All right.
It's all
The
good.
other group's
Hold on.
name was lady.
Can we do
Huh?
one more? Can we do one more? Name that tune before we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the chat, though. In the chat, you can't say it because everyone's gonna say it. I'm not gonna hear it. First one in the chat. I'm gonna go old school because I like old school. Here we go.
90s music.
We're gonna dance tonight.
What's the name of the song, though?
Yeah, you know, look, they was on it. Whitney Houston early, they was on it.
Near Win. Dance with somebody. You guys are good. Okay. Can you name this one, though? Can you name this one, though? This is a tough one. Tough one. Classic. Come on now.
I ain't even looking.
Who knows this? When it drops, you want to know it. It's not the Beatles. I'm going like super old school right now.
It's in the chat.
Come on, y'all.
The Who?
Not the Who. Not Bob
I don't know the name.
Google.
Nope. That's the Piano Man. That's Billy Joe, the Piano Man.
Wow, I knew that was. I'm like, yo, I know that's somebody I heard before.
All right, here we go.
Billy
I'm gonna
Joel.
give you a new one. This is more recent. It's not too recent, but you should know it.
Not even answering.
Got it.
Not even answering it.
Got it. Who
Yep.
said that? I think that was
You got a unique taste in music, man.
Dude, I saw all over the place. Okay. Yo, how many times can I say this is the last one? I don't even trust myself anymore. Okay.
I don't trust you either.
I don't trust myself. All
I don't
right.
trust you.
I don't trust myself right now. With music, apparently this is I didn't even know this was a hobby of mine.
This is a fun activity.
This is my last one. I swear after this, everyone go do what you're doing over the weekend.
Going to school, have class.
Yeah, that's fine.
Really?
Come on now. Not 112.
I don't know the,
Oh, that was
name.
Stephanie.
I don't know the
Yes.
name of it.
Tyrese. Sweet lady. He had
Oh,
one hit song,
Yeah.
and then he started doing Fast and Furious, and then being crazy on Instagram.
All right.
What?
Question. I would like to say thank you to Arel for this presentation.
Oh, thank you.
First of all, I want to say thank you to Jason. Thank you to Jason for putting this together. This morning, I don't know how I did it. I have 4 Zoom meetings. I do work, and I've been up 6:30. And I think this was like the last Zoom chat. I want to thank Arel for so much because I was about to take a nap and relax, but I decided to sign up to get on this. And now I'm opened up more. So like everything that we did, it's great to see everybody, all the Hostos students. Thanks for the leadership program. I'm getting ready to log off to get some rest. Thank y'all so much.
Do it, y'all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jason. Round of applause for Jason. You can do this.
Thank
I don't know if you know this. All right, Jason. Love you, brother. I'm going to send you the recording. Thank you for being here. And remember, be yourself because everyone else is taken.
Hold on, don't leave yet.
Okay, why? I'm here.
I wanted to get you because I ain't get it. I wasn't in none of the pictures. My camera was acting.
Oh, you ready to do the photo? Okay, we're gonna do a picture for Joshua. Here we go. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, Josh, got you, bro.
Bro, my guy.